Hello, best friends. Welcome to Tech with Praise James again. On this channel, I already told you we're going to be discussing buzzwords in AI and machine learning. So today we're going to be discussing one buzzword that you probably have heard, black box problem in AI. So come with me. AI is used in so many fields to automate decision-making processes. I'm talking about fields where human safety is involved and the cost of error is high. Like, we cannot afford to make mistakes. You see, doctors use AI in healthcare to diagnose illnesses. Manufacturing companies use AI to detect machinery issues before failure occurs. Financial institutions use AI for fraud detection, loan approval. Cybersecurity, they use AI for facial recognition. AI is such a huge part of our day-to-day life now. So when it's used in sectors where any little mistake can have devastating effects on the user, it becomes a very big deal. Now, this is the problem. So if AI is used in such important fields, right, would it be sensible for us not to understand how it came about its results? For instance, if a loan approval company approves loan for a particular person and denies it for another person, how can we determine that the result of the AI is true if we do not know how it came about? This is the black box problem. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what black box problem in AI means, why it occurs, and how AI researchers are trying to solve the problem. So, how many besties? So let me tell you a quick story before we go into this video. When I was little, I used to be a magician. I know, I've done a lot of things for this bag. But yes, I used to be a magician and I used to have a magic show. So I had clients, who in this case are just my siblings, that would give me stuff and I'll put into my box and make it disappear. Obviously, I cannot review the trick because I might go back to my job as a magician if writing doesn't pay. Let me pay in Jesus' name. If writing doesn't pay. But yeah, my clients up to today, they do not know how I made what they gave me disappear. I just made it happen, right? And this is sort of how the black box situation happens in AI. You give AI something that we call an input. It gives you a result that we call the output. But we don't know the process that happened in between that input and output for us to get that result. That is what the black box problem in AI means. It's basically like a magician trick, right? You see the results of the trick, but you do not know how the magician made it happen. To give you a more formal definition of the black box problem in AI, it's a phenomenon where an AI system makes predictions, makes decisions, gives recommendations without any clear explanation. A very good example of a black box system is ChatGPT. You put an input, like I said earlier, you get an output, but you do not know the process behind the scene that made the output, that resulted in the output. Now let's talk about why does this black box problem happen. Before we do that, I want to say something, right? So you see your typical software applications like the apps or your phones. Now, these apps were developed by software engineers. So basically they write code, right? And this code is basically a set of rules that is executed. Now, it means that if the code basically is like, if this thing happens, make this happen. It's a linear situation, it's straightforward. You know that if this doesn't happen, this will not happen, right? It's clear. That's how a typical traditional programming works. But you see, the thing with ChatGPT and AI tools in general, they learn from data. So they do not follow the typical programming process. They learn from millions and billions of data. ChatGPT learns from so much data. That's how it's able to give near perfect results. Now, you see these billions of data that we call parameters, it's fed into the AI system, right? And the AI system trains on it. So the data is basically like a teacher. It's teaching the AI system what it should know. Now the AI system is going through this data and it's looking at it and it's making correlations between different features of data. So it's like, okay, this and this would make sense to do this and do that. So basically it's forming new information from that data. And that's how it's able to spit out like near perfect output, if I might say. Now, that's where the problem occurs. You see, when these correlations are happening, even the creators of this AI system, they are not inside there to be like, oh my God, look at this one, do this one. Okay, let me write it down. You cannot trace the decision-making process because of the complexity of the training that is going on. You cannot trace it. You cannot be like, if this happens, like I write, for instance, I'm really familiar with Python code. So if I say, if this and this happens, do this with programming language, it's clear. if that thing doesn't happen, the other thing cannot happen. You have a process. You know that if this thing happened, it's because something else has happened. You can pinpoint, you can trace back that thing that happened. But you can't do the same for black box models. It just happens. You do not have any explanation for the thinking behind the output. It's so crazy that even the creators, right? At least us, we're just the spectators, we're just seeing what is happening. But even the creators of this AI system, they can't explicitly tell you that this is what happened here that led to this. We are just seeing the output of our input. So that is why a black box problem occurs. It occurs because of the complexity of the whole data training processes, the correlations, the new discovery that happens within the data when it is in that training phase that nobody is inside with it. Chicken. Now let's talk about the most important thing in my definition. Why is this a bad thing, right? Why is the black box problem a very serious issue? I said earlier, AI is used in literally every sector in the world right now. In some capacity, we're using AI to do something. Now, if you're using AI in a critical field like healthcare that is diagnosing illnesses, we cannot afford a mistake. A mistake is very costly. Now, if AI tells us, makes a prediction, right, and we cannot tell why it made that prediction, what led to that prediction, and the user or the recipient of this decision just has to take it. It's not proper. It means that if the result was inaccurate or biased or harmful, you cannot be able to tell because there's no transparency to even figure out if it is wrong. So with the over reliance on AI systems, because we are going into this world where anything AI says you believe because it's like AI is smarter, right? And if people are having this mindset over relying on these tools, we cannot afford a mistake. So black box problem, it makes it easier for AI systems to make mistakes and makes it difficult for them to be resolved because there's no transparency, there's no explanation for any outcomes you get. You just have to take it as it comes. That is wrong because these AI systems are trained on data that can be biased, right? And that would mean that they would cough out biased results. Now, if, for instance, a facial recognition tool is being biased towards black people, if we cannot explain how things came about, we cannot tell if that tool is being biased towards people of color. So that is why the black box problem is harmful. Let's talk about the solutions that AI researchers are proposing to solve this problem. The first one is something called explainable AI. I wrote a very comprehensive article on it that I will link in the description. Now, explainable AI is a set of techniques that is aimed at making AI systems easier to understand for humans so that the humans that benefit or are impacted by the results of this AI system, they can challenge the results. If I know why this AI system said a particular returned a particular result, I can say, oh, this result is wrong. So that's the idea behind explainable AI. It's a whole field on its own. So my article will give you a very good introduction into the field. So make sure that you check it out in the description. Now, the next one is feature importance. Like I said earlier, right, this AI system is fed billions of data and it learns correlation between features in this data. So feature importance is basically saying we are noting down the features that impact the decision the most. Feature importance allows us to look at the most important features that we feel influences the decisions that the AI system makes and use those features to assess the decision. So now, like I said, if it's a model that helps to decide which student deserves a scholarship, right? The features it's likely be looking at is maybe grades, the activities the student participates in, maybe their punctuality. There are specific things that the school that is using this system would be looking at. So those features, we can use them to know how the decision and that the AI system came about was influenced. So that's the second way that AI researchers think that we can use to solve the black box problem. The third proposed method of solving this black box problem in AI is to build transparent models where the data is known, the architecture, the training method, basically the intricacies of the system is made public. Explainable AI, feature importance, and building transparent algorithms, or better still, interpretable algorithms, are the three ways that we can fight this problem of black box in AI. So, to just wrap up everything, personally, I feel like it will be difficult here to trust the decisions of an AI system if I do not know how it came about that decision. And this black box problem needs to be addressed because the adoption of AI is growing exponentially. Literally, like I said earlier, everything you're doing in some capacity, AI is influencing it. This is a tool that is used to automate decision-making processes. So we cannot afford people mistrusting the tool, right? Because it would mean that there will be slower adoption and or resistance to adoption. Because if people cannot trust something, they would not want to use that thing. But I want to hear what you think. Do you think it's a big issue that you don't understand how AI systems come about the results, or you don't care as long as they do what you want? Let me know in the comments, please. As you're doing so, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, you should, because next week I will be explaining another AI buzzword in a very easy to understand way. So make sure you like and share and subscribe to this channel if you found this video helpful. If there's anything I can improve, if there's anything you'd like me to know, even if you want to suggest a buzzword that you think I should explain next, please let me know. I created this channel for you and for me. We're best friends, remember, so I will do anything to make you happy, okay? But you can do something to make me happy too. This is a trade, scratch my back and scratch your situation. Yeah, so subscribe if you want to make me happy, and then tell me what you want me to talk about next so I can make you happy. Thank you for stopping by at Tech with Praise James and for coming to our friendship date, right? I'm sorry I don't have a drink, but I do have water that I've finished drinking. But yeah, I can share with you. So thank you for coming to our friendship date. And stop by next week. We have another friendship date next week, so please stop by. Next week I'm going to bring Drew so we can cheers. So bring yours too next week. Yeah. Bye.